Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of In Conversation by Advisorkhoj. Today, in conversation, once again, we have Mr. Sanjay Bembalkar, Head Equity with Union Mutual Fund. Welcome, Sanjay, to In Conversation today.
Thank you. Pleasure is mine.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So, before we move into the questions and this interesting video interview, I would just like to remind all our subscribers to please, viewers rather, to please subscribe to the Advisor Coach YouTube channel for wonderful such interesting updates, which really help all of us to know exactly what's happening in the capital markets. So, well, Sanjay, coming back to you, Union Mutual Fund is launching their new fund offer of Union Consumption Fund from 1st December and closing on 15th of December 2025. So, of course, consumption is a great theme. That's what we all are talking about today. But could you tell more details about this consumption fund, new fund offer to our viewers?
Sure, sure. So, जैसे आपने बताया, consumption fund is a thematic product which is focused on the consumption theme.
Hmm.
We believe that this is a long theme for India. It's not a narrow theme; it's very broad theme. Significant part of our GDP comprises of consumption.
Hmm.
And as recently, you would have seen that government's focus is also back to consumption with the direct tax benefits, with the
Hmm.
GST benefits, with upcoming eighth pay commission. We
Hmm.
believe that consumption theme is a multi-year or
Hmm.
multi-decadal
Hmm.
theme. And
Hmm.
we believe that it's a great value unlocking opportunity for
Hmm.
investors. That's why we are launching this consumption fund. In consumption, there are multiple areas and
Hmm.
multiple levers which are there. So, for
Hmm.
example, India, जैसे हमें पता ही है कि इट्स अ डेमोग्राफिक वाइज वी आर ब्लेस्ड विद अ लार्ज demographical benefits. Apart from that, rising income levels and
Hmm.
urbanization, these are the pillars on which this consumption theme is standing, and
Hmm.
these are not going to change suddenly. These are the long term trends according to us, and that's what we are trying to take benefit for our investors in this fund.
श्योर जब हम जीडीपी पर कैपिटा की बात करते हैं सो वेर इट इज रूरल जीडीपी पर कैपिटा और अर्बन both have actually crossed a critical mark from a dollar terms and which is extremely critical कि जब that वो critical जीडीपी per capita mark cross होता है so obviously it leads to a consumption boom. But clearly, the path is set that by 2030, we should be around $7 trillion economy. सो आपके हिसाब से जो ये कंजम्पशन बूम जो अब हम फेस कर रहे हैं या फेस करने वाले हैं इज इट गोइंग टू बी मोर रूरल कंजम्पशन ड्रिवन और अर्बन और बोथ इफ यू कुड जस्ट एक्सप्लेन आवर व्यूज ऑन दैट.
Sure, sure. So, as you rightly said, rural consumption is also a significant part of consumption.
Hmm.
And we believe that if our economy has to grow and achieve new heights, then both the engines, urban
Hmm.
consumption as well as rural consumption, has to fire.
Hmm.
And that is the cognizance from the government that apart from urban, now rural consumption and urban both are being channeled or fueled, and we believe that both will accelerate going ahead because of the actions from the government side. So, for
Hmm.
example, 97,000 crore rupees of direct tax benefits, 64,000 crore rupees of GST 2.0 benefits.
Hmm. Hmm.
These benefits are in a way shifting the cash flow. आप कैश फ्लो पे फोकस करते हैं तो ये कैश फ्लो गवर्नमेंट के हाथ से कंज्यूमर और टैक्स पेयर के हाथ में आ रहा है.
Hmm.
तो हमें
Hmm.
लगता है कि both the urban consumption cohort as well as rural consumption cohort will accelerate from here on. But
Hmm.
however, we also think that in India, it is difficult to capture only urban or only rural consumption through the listed part. And
Hmm.
that's why we have to focus on the framework. तो हमें लगता है कि जो कंजम्पशन के क्लियर ड्राइवर्स है, सो आइदर पेनिट्रेशन इज इंक्रीजिंग और देर आर इनेबलर्स और इंटरमीडियरीज विच आर गोइंग टू हेल्प दिस कंजम्पशन बूम एक्सेलरेट. और इफ यू थिंक द प्रीमियमाइजेशन ट्रेंड, सो जैसे आपको पता ही है 10 साल पहले एसयूवी का पेनिट्रेशन वाज ऑलमोस्ट एट द
Hmm.
लेवल ऑफ 20%, बट टुडे इन द सेल्स कोहोर्ट ऑलमोस्ट मोर देन 60% डोमिनेंट शेयर इज नाउ गार्नर बाय एसयूवीज. सो ये जो प्रीमियमाइजेशन ट्रेंड हो रहा है एंड
Hmm.
जैसे इकोनॉमिकल ग्रोथ हो रही है, जैसे इनकम बढ़ रहा है, वी थिंक दैट इवन द एक्सपीरियंसेस आर चेंजिंग. सो अर्लियर आपको पता ही है, जैसे ट्रैवल वाज नॉट कंसिडर्ड वेरी बिग इंडस्ट्री, बट टुडे ट्रैवल, टूरिज्म, हॉस्पिटैलिटी, these are the new experiences which Indian consumers are now resorting to. तो हमें लगता है कि एक अच्छा फ्रेमवर्क हमने इसको नाम दिया है राइज फ्रेमवर्क के थ्रू
Hmm.
हम ये कंजम्पशन पैटर्न को देखेंगे एंड वी
Hmm.
विल ट्राई
Hmm.
टू कैप्चर द ड्राइवर्स ऑफ दिस कंजम्पशन इन आवर फंड.
Sure, sure. तो अगर हम देखें कि that the consumption is almost about 65%, it leads our GDP, right? तो इसमें if you were to give a very broad, rough, approximate breakup, currently what's the pattern? If we were to extrapolate that 65% to be 100, what will be rural and what will be consumption? No, it's very difficult to dissect, but फिर भी एक, approximate number. What would numbers would you pick?
Right, right. So, Suranji, they say India is a very large country. So,
Hmm.
depending on which segment you are talking about, this mix will change. But
Yes.
broadly, if I look at FMCG,
Hmm.
the
FMCG. Hmm.
FMCG or
Hmm.
normal consumer, fast moving consumer goods, वहाँ पे एक proportion दिया जाता है 65-35. तो
अच्छा.
around 65% is urban and
Hmm.
35% is rural. But
Hmm.
in the growth, rural consumption plays a very important part because
Hmm.
those are the consumers who are shifting
Hmm.
from one cohort of low consumption to another cohort of high consumption. So
Hmm. Hmm.
growth के बारे में rural consumption plays a very dominant part as well. So
Hmm.
as a fund manager, as an analyst, we have to play or we have to keep equal attention to both the cohorts of urban as well as rural.
Sure. Sure. Uh, when we look at the uh, all the wonderful initiatives taken by the government recently, whether it is the tax break, changing the slabs, completely re-engineering that, as well as the GST rate rationalization, correct, and of course now followed by the eighth pay commission as well. तो इसका जो इफेक्ट है, रियल इफेक्ट जिसको हम बोलते हैं ना, अभी तो हमने एक ट्रेलर देखा है. What we saw, over 6 lakh crore of expenditure during the Diwali time. But इसका जो रियल इफेक्ट हमारी रियल जीडीपी में एंड कॉर्पोरेट अर्निंग्स में आपको क्या लगता है? When will we start seeing that? In which quarters are we looking at that?
G, G. So let's dissect it in the from the way you framed the question. So if you look at direct tax benefit,
Hmm.
has already started coming from April, and people are getting that benefit because of the
Hmm.
lower tax outgo in their
Hmm.
monthly
Hmm.
salaries or in their advance tax payments, etc. And that benefit is accruing to them, and which we should be able to see in the numbers soon.
Sure.
Second part is on the GST 2.0,
Hmm.
which got effective in the September this year.
Hmm.
However,
Hmm.
when such kind of mega changes or big changes take place, typically trade channels take some time to adjust because there is a issue that who will bear the benefits, who will bear the cost of it, who will take the benefits out of this reduction in the cost, etc., and how these benefits get passed on to the consumers. So
Sure.
before it gets passed on to the consumers, the channel inventory has to be reduced and new channel inventory has to come into the market, etc. So it
Yes.
takes some period of time. We are expecting that by December quarter it should be done, and Q4 we should see clear benefits of this GST 2.0. And that has same thing has been called out by some of the companies which we meet. The managements have also indicated the similar timelines. However, Surenji, the third element which I wanted to highlight is on the eighth pay commission. And
Hmm.
typically, these are decadal changes. So, last pay commission was in 2016, and
Hmm.
now next pay commission is going to be in 2026. And depending on when central government gives those benefits, those areas will also get those consumer cohorts will also benefit significantly out of it.
Yes.
What we have seen in the past is that typically central government gives those benefits, and then one state government also follows it over a period of multi year cycle. And that's why we believe that that eighth pay commission benefit is likely to accrue over next 1-2 years period of time in various parts of India, and those will keep on fueling the consumption boom in those parts.
श्योर श्योर श्योर. एक सवाल मुझे आपसे पूछना था. वी हैव सीन द इंटरनेट रेवोल्यूशन इन इंडिया, करेक्ट, एंड what percentage would you allocate has led to this consumption boom in our country because of this internet revolution? Because आजकल हर एक के हाथ में मोबाइल है,
जी.
स्मार्टफोन है, ठीक है. ही सो linked to the global world, which considerably drives the aspirational requirements कि मैं भी अच्छा जीवन व्यतीत करूं. I should
जी.
also increase my income levels and buy this and buy that and etc etc. What's your view on that?
No, I think you. I think this is a very important question you asked, and I think this is the significant part of the consumption trend,
Mm,
which we as a fund managers are also looking at when we
mm,
are looking at the consumption area in total.
mm,
Because you're absolutely bang on that what used to happen earlier, that there was ability to spend in
mm,
consumption in within consumers' wallets, but willingness to spend and where to spend, that understanding that how to spend this money was lacking. And now with these technological changes, now people are able to understand that okay, these are the and information is getting disseminated very quickly. तो हमें लगता है कि ये एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण हिस्सा है on the consumption story, that
mm.
technological change, in fact we are calling it as a fourth pillar in our overall consumption story, that these are
Mm.
the fourth pillar on which Indian consumption story is actually standing on. तो आपने जैसे बताया, सो फॉर एग्जांपल एयर फ्रायर्स, सो ये कई कंप्लीट नई कैटेगरी आई, या
Mm.
वाटर प्यूरिफायर्स, या
Mm.
हेयर स्ट्रेटनर्स.
Mm.
एंड जैसे आपको दिखेगा कि इन्फ्लुएंसर यूजिंग इट or some of the Instagram reels are using it, it immediately becomes very viral, and it that information gets in the hands of all the consumers, and
Absolutely.
whoever has that ability and willingness to spend, then they are able to spend on these items. So हमें लगता है कि in the information dissemination and overall consumption fueling, technology plays a very important role, and it has a very big chunk which get influenced by these changes.
Absolutely. चाहे आप एजुकेशन बोलिए, चाहे आप एस्पिरेशंस बोलिए, I think it has exploded the way last 10 years the internet revolution has led to it. I think because पैसा होना एक बात है, कहाँ खर्चना है वो दूसरी बात है.
जी, जी.
और उस ग्राहक को कैसे लेके जाना है उस डायरेक्शन में कि तुम आओ और मुझसे खरीदो एंड फिल इन योर एस्पिरेशनल रिक्वायरमेंट्स. और एक और इवन बच्चा जो एक सेमी अर्बन या रूरल या अर्बन में ही देख लीजिए, कहाँ पढ़ना है,
जी.
एजुकेशन की महत्वता क्यों है, व्हाट विल इट लीड टू. आई थिंक इट्स अ ग्रेट ग्रेट वैल्यू एडिशन फ्रॉम दैट.
एंड सुरेन जी, आपने ये भी देखा होगा कि सडनली द ट्रेंड्स गेट फॉलोड. सो फॉर
हम्म.
एग्जांपल आपने देखा होगा सडन ट्रेंड इन लेट्स से ट्रैवल एंड हॉस्पिटैलिटी विल कम इन, एंड इट विल बिकम वायरल immediately. Suddenly people will start flocking to those destinations, those areas. In fact, even eating styles, suddenly you would have seen the influx of Korean noodles in the category. So in my opinion, these are significantly influenced by these technological changes or
Yes,
shifts which are
absolutely.
happening.
Absolutely. अभी अगर आप देखिए इंडियन रिटेल मार्केट इज अबाउट 450 से 470 बिलियन डॉलर्स की, राइट. जब ये ऑनलाइन परचेज प्लेटफॉर्म्स आए थे, आई डोंट वांट टू नेम एनी, नहीं चलेंगे, ये नहीं होगा, वो नहीं होगा. आज देखिए, मतलब कि पीपल जस्ट आर बाइंग एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम दोज ऑनलाइन पोर्टल्स. कोई घर से हिलना नहीं चाहता. Everything is coming to their doorstep, and the food delivery apps have as good as become like restaurants, let me put it this way.
No, earlier, see, these trends are changing, and it is very important to pay close attention to them. So
Hmm.
earlier, eating out, for example, used to be occasional. That when there is a, let's say, anniversary, birthday, or some celebration is there. But now in urban consumers, at least we see eating out as a weekly affair rather than it's linked to any occasion now. And those trends are very important trends from an investor point of view to pay attention to. If
Hmm.
we can take benefit of them in our portfolios, that is something which we are looking forward to.
Absolutely, very true, very true. एक बात बताइए, so what will be the style of this union consumption fund management? Will it be मतलब obviously market cap and sectoral agnostic, more flexi style?
So it is a consumption oriented fund,
Hmm.
and that's
Hmm.
why the consumption theme and consumption sectors would be the key sectors for this fund.
Hmm.
However, consumption is a very broad theme. There are almost 19 subsectors to
Hmm.
consumption. So you can have telecommunication companies also. You can have hospitals. Sorry, not hospital, hotels also.
जी.
Hospitality industry comes into this, and those are the areas which we would be looking to deploy capital into.
Sure.
We find that there are opportunities across market cap curve. So large, mid cap, as well as small cap would be represented in this fund. So across the cap curve, this fund can deploy the capital, and that is how we are looking to deploy capital. It's an
Sure.
actively managed fund, and that's why fund manager will be looking to deploy money on a very active basis. So it will be tracked actively, and that is how we are looking to manage this fund over a period of time.
श्योर श्योर श्योर। हम जब बाजार को देखते हैं अभी, हाउ आर यू व्यूइंग द मार्केट? बिकॉज सडनली हमने फिर से बाजार को एक तेजी में आते देखा, एंड वी कीप hearing about interest rates, FII money, multiple factors. Most importantly, the earnings growth to the forward PE, which is not looking very attractive from that aspect. So, what's your view on that? Because of course, आपने जैसे बात करी definitely, and एक और चीज मैं add करना चाहूंगा is that the top-notch corporates, they are knocking now the private markets to raise more money, which is a very positive sign because obviously that money is getting deployed back into the business in a way, correct? So वैल्यूएशन के perspective से आपका क्या थॉट है इस वक्त बाजार में?
तो सुरेन जी, मेरा थोड़ा डिफरेंट ओपिनियन है ऑन द ओवरऑल
हम्म
मार्केट. वी
हम्म
आर वेरी पॉजिटिव ऑन द इंडियन मार्केट राइट नाउ.
हम्म
We believe that lot of work has been done by the companies on the fundamental aspects, and
हम्म
that is what is showing up in the earnings trajectory of the Indian market.
हम्म
And at the same time, because of the pressures which are maybe emanating from FII outflow, or
हम्म
maybe emanating from negative sentiment coming from the tariff related discussions. In fact, we were supposed to be the one of the first companies to sign tariff deal, and we are now having highest tariffs in the world. So those negative sentiments also played a very important
हम्म,
role, leading to our market underperforming emerging markets by a margin. And also very significant time correction has happened of one year in our markets. So we are of the opinion that Indian markets are looking very attractive from current on. In fact, our fair value spectrum is in the fair zone,
I
indicating that
see.
we are not paying high price to enter
Okay.
into Indian markets currently. And earning trajectory from the large cap perspective, if I look at Nifty 50's earning trajectory, is accelerating. So if you look
हम्म
at how FY25's EPS growth versus FY26 and now FY27, we clearly see the acceleration in the earnings delivery by Nifty 50 companies, and that's why we are very constructive on the overall Indian equity markets.
Sure, sure. So, Sanjay, what could be one threat to this entire beautiful consumption story which we are all witnessing?
So the threat, in my opinion, particularly on the consumption side, is that some negativity happening from the geopolitical perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, you would have seen that when uncertainty comes in the minds of consumers, they typically try to go into shell and try to spend less. And
Mm-hmm.
similar things we have seen in a way after COVID. Immediately after COVID, we saw that consumption dipping significantly. The
Yes.
people immediately went to their shells and said that, okay, no, whatever is necessary, only that we'll
Mm.
try to do. So any geopolitical significant uncertainty, in my mind, would be the big risk to overall consumption story.
Otherwise,
And also, I just wanted to draw your attention to on the consumption theme. What are the, let's say, if you look at on the fund side,
yes.
uh, this fund will be focusing on consumption. So
Mm.
what it is not, or which will not have, which will be under indexed to IT companies. It will
Acha,
be under indexed to banks. It
I
will be
see.
under indexed to infra, cement plays. So if significant boom happens in those parts, consumption fund will not be able to capture it fully.
Obviously, correct. But I think overall, structurally and fundamentally, the consumption story for India looks extremely strong.
Yes, that's why we are also getting this confidence to launch
Yes.
this fund, and
Yeah,
that's what we are angling on.
sure. So, Sanjay, through this in conversation, what message would you like to give to all the viewers, listening to you, particularly about your Union Consumption Fund, new fund offer?
जी जी. So ये एक थीमेटिक फंड है विच इज फोकसिंग ऑन द कंजम्पशन स्टोरी ऑफ इंडिया. एंड हमें लगता है कि इंडियाज कंजम्पशन स्टोरी इज वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग एंड फॉर द डिकेड्स टू कम इन्वेस्टर्स कैन बेनिफिट आउट ऑफ दिस. दैट्स व्हाई वी आर लॉन्चिंग दिस प्रोडक्ट. It is also very important to look at the framework because consumption is a very broad theme. It's not a narrow theme. Almost 19 subsectors are there. It's a large chunk of Indian economy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why focusing on the RISE framework, where reach is happening, where intermediaries are playing key role, where spend up or premiumization is going to play through, and where experiences are changing. So this RISE framework is very critical framework or the lens through which we are going to look at consumption basket of India, and accordingly put positions in the portfolio. It's going to be investing across the large cap, mid cap, and small cap category, and that is how this overall fund will be looking to invest over a period of time.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great. For our viewers, this is Mr. Sanjay Bembalkar taking us through, the consumption as a, you know, big component driving the Indian economy as they launched their new fund offer, Union Consumption Fund on 1st of December and closing the NFO on the 15th of December 2025. So Sanjay, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. You could take us some time and share your thoughts around the consumption and what this Union Consumption Fund new fund offer is all about and why the reason you're launching this consumption fund NFO as well. And would request all our viewers to subscribe to Advisorkhoj YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Trust me, wonderful such people come onto the channel like Sanjay ji, who discuss in terms of what their thoughts about the overall markets are all about, which can help all of us in great amount of learning. Sanjay, thank you very very much for
Thank
joining
you.
in today's video interview.
Thank you. Pleasure is mine.
Thank you. And all the best for the Union Consumption Fund NFO.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.